He makes decisions as some brew coffee, swiftly, effectively, and devoid of flavor. We do not engage in conflict. Not due to a lack of disagreement. Yet, it is in silence that we have both become fluent. Each morning I find myself nestled in the backseat of a sleek black SUV, whisked away to destinations that hold no allure for me. Charity luncheons, cosmetic clinics, and yoga sessions that cost a small fortune. It transpired on a Thursday. It was one of those mornings thick with clouds, where the weight of the world seemed poised on the brink of shattering. Gregory had arrived in New York the previous night. Once more the realm of business. It is perpetually a matter of business. Sleep had eluded me. That day, I found myself unanchored, free from the constraints of obligation. Nevertheless, I reached out to Marco regardless. Just drive, I instructed him. He made no inquiry about the destination. He never did. For the initial 20 minutes, silence enveloped us. Yet, the silence shared with Marco was far from an absence of sound. It was an undeniable presence. It resonates like a melody devoid of words, as if familiar with the cadence of their breath before the words escape their lips. He guided us away from the city, navigating the serpentine hills shrouded in the soft embrace of early morning fog, roads that make you lose all sense of time. He at last brought his vehicle to a stop next to a forsaken orchard. The old paths lay hidden beneath a verdant blanket of grass. The trees stood untamed, their branches sprawling, blossoms bursting forth ahead of their time. "This place holds memories of my grandfather and me," he remarked. His voice carried a gentler timbre than usual. "I have always appreciated the chaos it brought. All things striving with great effort to exist." I exited the vehicle, my mind a blank slate. The shoes pressed gently into the moist earth beneath them. I strolled through the grove of trees. Marco trailed behind, not in my wake. Next to me, though the air was not frigid, a shiver coursed through me. Perhaps it was simply a matter of nerves. Perhaps it was the desire I recognized within myself yet had not summoned the courage to articulate. He came to a halt. I pivoted. And there it lay, a moment suspended in time. The stillness that lingers. The last heartbeat before consent transforms into something entirely different. He advanced with measured intent. His hand grazed my waist. Gently, as if the question lingered in the air. I chose to stay put. He leaned in, his lips grazing my cheeks softly at first. Experimentation. Anticipating. I pivoted to meet his gaze completely. And then our lips met. No grand gestures. There is no urgent craving. Merely a gentle, yearning affirmation. The duration of our stillness eludes my memory. Embracing the tender act of kissing. Taking a moment to pause. Inhale. Exhale. My fingers wove through the fabric of his jacket's collar. His fingers glided along the line between my shoulder and neck, as if navigating a familiar map. As he withdrew, silence enveloped the moment. I did not either. Silence enveloped the scene, for any word spoken would only diminish its significance. Yet within my chest a thread had come undone. Unbroken. Unshackled. We lingered, not returning to the car immediately. We nestled beneath the sprawling branches of a tree, our knees brushing against one another. He shared tales, his mother's culinary creations, his beloved old dog, the first car that captured his heart. I confided in him secrets I had never shared with another soul. It speaks to the profound solitude of being the object of admiration, while remaining a stranger to those who gaze upon you. Once I would twirl and sway in the kitchen, lost in the rhythm, believing I was alone in my little world. Reflecting on the moment, I lost the familiar echo of my own laughter. He absorbed every word as if it were a melody, as if every word held the weight of remembrance. As they journeyed back, he extended his hand across the console. His hand sought out mine. For the first time in years, I allowed someone to grasp it. I felt no concern about being observed. I was indifferent to the possibility of being discovered. In that fleeting instant, just that fleeting instant, I found myself a woman entwined with another, my heart no longer fortified against the inevitable blows of life. Marco ceased his approach to the driveway. Instead, he started to circle the block, waiting for Gregory's car to disappear from sight. It was only at that moment that he finally found a place to park. There are no inquiries. Do not make any assumptions. Only a quiet understanding lingered between us. Our moments were claimed by the shadows. At times we remained in the car. At times he would play melodies unfamiliar to me, exotic harmonies that wound around my being like soft murmurs. At other moments we stumbled upon deserted parking lots, vacant parks, and the hushed fringes of the city. I ceased the habit of wearing watches. Time, previously a weight to bear, transformed into a hidden treasure. On a certain afternoon he led me to a warehouse. He claimed it was a possession of a friend of his. It remained untouched throughout the daylight hours. The air was thick with the scent of aged timber, a whisper of dust, and the lingering essence of rain absorbed by the concrete. Radiance poured through the fractured panes. He unfurled a blanket that resided in his trunk. Not novel, unscripted, yet cozy, familiar. I took my seat first. After a lengthy silence, he finally joined me. Silence enveloped us for what felt like an eternity. He leaned in, gently tucking my hair behind my ear, his hand lingering just beneath the curve of my jaw. My body inclined before I commanded it to. Our lips met once more. Extended duration this time. He remained gentle, yet a newfound confidence radiated from him. As if he understood that I had no intention of fleeing. As if he had been restraining himself, waiting to confirm that I desired it all. And I followed through. I did indeed. Never had I desired so utterly. I allowed him to peel away my layers with deliberate slowness. Each button, each sleeve, each layer. Not stripped but unwrapped. My skin remained unyielding. His hands lacked greed. They held a deep sense of respect. Inquisitive. Admirable. As he gently reclined me, a sense of vulnerability eluded me. I experienced a profound sense of recognition. Each kiss he bestowed upon my body was intentional, thoughtful, not merely an act. As he finally crossed that threshold, there was no trace of doubt in his approach. Unapologetically, I did not conceal the sound I produced. I allowed it to resonate. Allow it to ricochet against the cold metal walls and the fractured beams. May it signify this space as belonging to us. I had never experienced intimacy in a setting so shattered, and never experienced such a profound sense of completeness. In the moments that followed, we lingered without hastily donning our clothes. We reclined in each other's embrace, intertwined and exposed. His fingers glided gently, creating languid designs across my abdomen. He murmured tales once more, fragments of the past, fleeting visions, incomplete musings. I responded with laughter, inquiries, and the sporadic brush of a kiss. Time seemed to stretch, unhurried and calm. There was never a moment with Marco. He approached everything with a measured pace, particularly not myself. When Gregory returned home that night, I remained unperturbed. There was no guilt within me, only a profound sense of clarity. The shame had long since faded away. What remained was a singular truth, unfiltered, vibrant. As I took my seat next to Gregory at dinner, a profound realization washed over me. The deeper I immersed myself in Marco, the clearer my own identity became. Not merely a spouse, not merely a specter of another's existence, yet a woman, flesh entwined with memory and desire. And someone had recalled the longing to have her return. Each morning it is Marco who takes the wheel. He is in his 28th year. Silence. Courteous. Modest. At first he slipped by unnoticed. Not quite. How frequently does a woman of my age pay attention to the driver when her life feels perpetually stalled? Yet a transformation unfolded that spring. Perhaps the fault lies with me. Perhaps it was the reflection of his gaze in the rearview mirror, or the manner in which he averted his gaze. It began with the little details. He recalled the way I preferred my coffee. On those rainy days, he would fill the air with the gentle strains of soft classical music. He opened the door with a sense of significance, not as if it were a mere task he had been taught, but as if it held a deeper meaning for him. His hands caught my attention long before his eyes did. Powerful, unwavering, hands that inspire confidence, guiding you toward a place of safety, or in a perilous location. On a Wednesday, tears streamed down my face as I sat in the back seat. For the third consecutive year, Gregory had called off our anniversary dinner. Marco remained silent. He merely shifted the mirror and reduced his speed, as if the sting of haste could surpass the weight of quietude. As we rolled into the driveway, I anticipated that he would bring the car to a stop. He chose to silence the engine instead. And pivoted. "Would you like to take the wheel for a bit?" he inquired. His meaning eluded me. "A location devoid of reservations," he remarked. I inclined my head in agreement. He reignited the engine once more. It was the inaugural moment when I chose not to step inside the house. He led me to a lake I hadn't laid eyes on in years. Our conversation was sparse. Yet, he offered me his jacket as the wind turned biting. He positioned himself nearby, but maintained a respectful distance. "You look tired," he remarked. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. "I appear aged." He gazed directly into my eyes. "No, simply released." That term. It shattered something. For he was indeed correct. It had been nearly a decade since I had truly been embraced. The words that followed have slipped from my memory. Yet, the memory of his gaze upon me lingers. As if I were not unseen. As if I had not yet finished. That night, our lips remained untouched. Yet an event had transpired. A challenge more difficult to wipe away. The following day, I adorned my lips with lipstick once more. Not intended for Gregory. Not intended for reflection. For the reflection behind. Marco always respected my boundaries. Yet, I began to scatter permission in every direction. In the manner in which I chuckled more gently. I lingered as he opened the door. In the manner I inquired about his mother, his dog, his preferred type of sky. One day, I confessed to him my disdain for orchids. "Excessively flawless," I remarked. He remained silent. However, the following week, wild lilies adorned the car. There is no card available. Silence speaks volumes. Simply present. Anticipating. As he once was. Love was never part of my intentions with him. Such things are not planned. Emotions begin to stir in corners of your being you believed had long since fallen silent. Then on a fateful day he swings open the car door. As your hand grazes his. Yet you remain steadfast. Nor does he. And in an instant the woman in the back seat takes the wheel once more. On a Tuesday I confided in Marco that it was time for us to put an end to things. I offered no explanation. Only 4 brief words. "This can't continue." He gave a slight nod. At one point. Did not plead. There was no dissent. He drove me home as he always does. Yet, as I emerged from the car, a part of me lingered in the shadows of the back seat. That night, I found myself wandering restlessly around the bedroom. Gregory lay in deep slumber, his face averted, arms folded tightly as if guarding a hidden secret. I gazed up at the ceiling, attempting to summon a sense of righteousness within me. Yet I was left with an emptiness inside. A void that reverberates. It whistles through the bones, ensuring you remain awake until dawn. It wasn't until Marco departed that I realized the profound depths he had reached. Or perhaps even more haunting. Ever close, ever in sight, yet forever out of reach. For a fortnight I maintained my distance. No text. Direct and unwavering. Only the front seat, the predetermined drop-off, the rehearsed smile. Yet my body remained oblivious to the message. It continued to lean as he swung the door open. Electricity lingered in the air as his fingers grazed mine while passing me the coffee. She continued to attune her ears to the sound of his breath whenever the silence grew overwhelming. I loathed myself for the absence of his presence, and loathed myself even more for feigning indifference. As dawn broke, a tempest began to gather on the horizon. The rain hammered relentlessly against the SUV's roof as Marco arrived. I slipped into the back seat, already drenched. Without uttering a word, he offered me a towel. He then eased away from the curb. Yet, he chose an unconventional path. He veered onto a narrow side street. I allowed him to continue. We journeyed to the lake. The one from several weeks past. It was there that he first referred to me as unheld. He brought the vehicle to a halt. Shut down the engine. We lingered in that moment as the rain intensified, enveloping us in its embrace. The glass panes were veiled in a mist of my breath. His hand lingered on the wheel. Yet his gaze was fixed upon me. At last he remarked, "You need not remain." I gently shook my head. "I have already departed. The instant I uttered the command for you to cease." He extended his hand across the console with deliberate slowness, fingertips brushing against my own. I remained steadfast, refusing to withdraw. I failed to consider. I have just settled into the front seat, and pressed her lips against his. More challenging this time. In a state of utter despair. Chaotic. Raindrops cascaded over our skin, while garments slipped away. The air was thick with warmth. And throb. And let it go. Silence enveloped us. Yet each gesture whispered, I longed for you. This is essential for me. It lingers in my mind. In the aftermath, we lingered in our undress. Exactly as the warehouse. Yet on this occasion tears streamed down my face. Not out of shame. From a sense of relief. For the first time in years I found myself no longer adrift. I felt as though I had come back. For my own reflection. To the essence of emotion. To desire. And to a man who could navigate his way to me without the aid of a map. He was already familiar with the roads. Every single one. Even those I attempted to shut. Marco refrained from requesting anything further. Not following that evening. He never insisted on a choice, never established a boundary. Yet a change had occurred. Within him. Within me. The days that followed unfolded in a manner all their own. Take your time. Weightier. Each instant transformed into a possibility. Gregory started to perceive my quietness, not to the extent of inquiring about my troubles, but just enough to propose a getaway to St. Moritz. I informed him that I was not feeling well. A falsehood. Emotions surged within me, each one vivid and palpable. I have taken up the pen once more. Not narratives. Not stories. Only pages. Of memories that lingered. The whisper of Marco's voice as he spoke my name for the first time. His hand sought mine. A silent connection forged without a glance. The lingering thrum within me, a testament to his absence, echoed through the silence of the room. I tucked them away, neatly folded beneath my mattress. With a flicker of hope, she wished Gregory might discover them. He half hoped that he wouldn't. Marco and I no longer found ourselves in forsaken places. We were free from the need to conceal ourselves in warehouses or veer into side roads. Not that we were no longer concealed. Yet, we had constructed a sanctuary within one another at this point. A space we bore along with us. On a particular day, he found a spot to park just outside the cherished old bookstore that once held my heart. The place I ceased to frequent when Gregory remarked that it gave off an air of loneliness. Marco grasped my hand, guided me through the entrance. I observed as my fingers glided over titles that had slipped from my memory, yet still held a cherished place in my heart. He procured one for me, bound in sturdy covers. Second hand. Etched within the inner cover lies another's tale. I appreciate it when things carry a sense of history, he remarked. I did as well. I informed Marco that I was not prepared to part ways with Gregory, not for the reason that I held affection for him. Yet uncertainty loomed over me, for I struggled to grasp my identity apart from the woman who had once been his wife. Marco inclined his head in acknowledgement. Then I shall wait at the curb, he declared. What if I never arrive? I murmured. He cast his gaze in my direction. I will always recognize the essence of home. As dawn broke, I gathered my belongings into a bag. Just 3 elements. My personal chronicle, the tome, and the scarf that Marco once retrieved when it slipped from my grasp. I descended the stairs. Gregory found himself engaged in a conference call. I refrained from interrupting. No note was written. Did not slam the door. I have just departed. I stepped out of the dwelling that boasted 10 rooms, and entered the sleek black SUV that awaited her arrival. Marco remained silent. He has recently embarked on the journey of driving. I refrained from inquiring about the location, for I had already discerned. I found myself rooted in place. At long last I was making my arrival. It transcended the act of running. It was a matter of coming back. To the girl I used to be. To the woman I had transformed into. To the beloved who embraced me as if I were more than just a fleeting traveler. In that last drive, as Marco's hand lay quietly on my thigh, a realization dawned upon me. He had mastered every road in the city. He had mastered every path within me. And he had brought each one back with him.